Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the January 10th Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a Little Time for Myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Begin with a little time for myself. Just take a moment to look this over. The question of the day is, what does autonomy look like to me today? The first part of the reading is about the fact that sometimes we give up our autonomy when we're dealing with someone who has a substance abuse problem, an alcoholism problem. And it mentions tradition 4. Each group is autonomous except in matters affecting other group, let me start over. Each group is autonomous except in matters affecting another group or Al-Anon or AA as a whole. And it's saying that we can use that as a guide for our relationships and boundaries and not infringing on others. It goes on to say that we can get to know ourselves through the steps, the traditions, using the tools of the program. And we focus on ourselves and discover all the different facets that make up who we are. Today's reminder is again focusing on ourselves and practicing autonomy and having compassion with ourselves and others. The quote is reaching for personal freedom. The quote is from Reaching for Personal Freedom. And it's talking about the balance between our own autonomy and someone else's, and how understanding that relationship is the difference between loneliness and feeling like we have to be in total control. Yeah, that's interesting. So what does autonomy look like to me today? Working on myself, working my program, doing what feels right to me, while being compassionate, but always considering what works for me, and then going from there. My first question is always like, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this? Before I shouldn't say it's always my first question. I strive for it to be my first question when I'm considering something. How do I feel about this? What do I want to do? What will make me feel good in this situation? Like, how will I be at peace? And I'm working on that. It's interesting. In Al-Anon, I feel like I've learned how to strengthen my relationships. Well, I guess it makes sense. All my relationships, including my relationship with myself. So I am now, I think I'm more comfortable with myself and spending time with myself. It's hard for me to really say that actually because like my partner's here, he's upstairs, I'm on the lower level, but like I know he's there. But I can say, excuse me, with some level of confidence that for the many years that I lived alone, I was pretty comfortable with that. And I think one of the biggest reasons is that I was just so glad to be peaceful, that I knew that I could count on myself to create a comfortable, stable, peaceful environment for myself. And that was just such a relief after uh, getting divorced and helping, I should just say, surviving, navigating my son's challenges as a teenager. By the time it was just me, it was almost like a I don't know any other. All I can think of is it was almost like a badge of honor that I had made it to that point. So I think I'm on the right track with autonomy. Always a work in progress, of course. How about you? What does autonomy look like to you today? Moving on. I did fix the book. It's not separated anymore from the cover. It's got a tab. All right, I'm going to take a minute to look this over. Ah, yes. This page has been a favorite of mine for a long, 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 long time. And as soon as I read the first sentence, I'm like, oh, yeah. So it's talking about worry and fear and how it's really just mental static. To help combat worry and fear, we can focus on where we are right now, where our feet are. Don't focus on negative thoughts. Focus instead on the sights and sounds around me, light, where my feet are, literally where my feet are. Everything about right now. Being in the present, this passage is saying, helps us to focus on what's right in front of us and not on the past, the future. And it says prayer, meditation, slogans, phone calls can all help us to refocus ourselves and be more receptive to our higher power's will for us. And that will also help us get through all times, including difficult times. Today's reminder is reminding us that all we've got is today, and that's all we need. And the quote is from Mahmoud Shabastari. And it's basically saying the only thing that's really real is right now, right here, right now. And I think that the reason why I've loved this page for so long is because worry and fear are my biggest challenges. I fear I'm not good enough. I I worry about the way that I handled something. I worry that I won't be able to, I fear that I won't be able to take care of myself in the future. All of that is, I love how it calls it mental static. It's all nonsense. It's just, I guess, Eckhart Tolle or Carolyn Mace would probably call it our mind just playing games with us. I think Eckhart Tolle would definitely call it that. I'm not sure, but I can see him saying something to that effect. So I guess it's just good to know that I don't have to believe my thoughts. I can see them for what they are, clouds in a bright blue sky, little fluffy white clouds in a bright blue sky, and I can either attach to them or let them go. That's Byron Katie. But I just love that vision. Little a little fear cloud. I can just let that blow away in the wind. It's a good reminder. I love that page. We'll close out with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.